So while a GDP may be very large, the fact is that every person has very little money with himself or herself. And that is why it's important to look at GDP per capita. Look at this chart. It gives you the GDP per capita of the BRICS countries and of 4 countries in the neighborhood. And what happens? Now, India is not number 3. India is close to the bottom. When it comes to per capita GDP, India is not very big. But GDP, I have a little problem with GDP. If I have borrowings also get added to GDP. So, I could be a person who's taken money from you, from the banks, from everyone, and use the money to buy a Merc, to buy a big bungalow for myself, to hire servants, and everyone thinks I'm a very rich man. But the chartered accountant who looks at my books of accounts knows that I have only borrowed money, I don't have any money left. GDP does that. You think you're big, you need to take the borrowings away to get the real picture. And so we take GNI, Gross National Income. That's like GDP, except it does not consider borrowings. Even when you look at GNI, you find India slipping. Not among the top 3, but way down. Why do GDP and GNI become very low? And the answer lies in 3 crucial areas that are ignored. The first is, of course, jobs. Look at the unemployment data. India has huge numbers of unemployment, except that it's concealed because we consider every farmer as being employed when he may be working only 4 months a year. That's not employment. That's part employment. You have to discount the employment by that number. The chart will tell you where India stands here. Take the next chart. Take literacy. Again, India is not very high, it's not very low. It's at 70, but that 70 again is misleading because that 70% literacy is based on a very flawed definition of literacy. In India, we consider anyone who can read or write his name or her name as being literate. So if a girl's name is Sita and she knows the 4 letters of her name, she is literate. Never mind, she does not know the other alphabets. Never mind, she does not know how to read a sentence. And that is why literacy figures for India can be very misleading. Literacy also has another problem. If you take government's own data, which it has talked about in the parliament, you find that 90% of the schools don't have internet connection, don't have smart classrooms. How can you become competitive in the world if you don't know what the world is like? 50% of schools don't have laboratories. So how does a child study physics? Or more important, how does he study chemistry? Through pots and pans? That is not good education. And we spend more time fighting with language and history when you should be concentrating on science and maths. So literacy is another area where India slips very badly. Another area which prevents GDP per capita and GNI per capita being low is the absence of good health care. Health care, no matter what your schemes are, you may have a big insurance scheme. But where are the doctors? Look at the number of doctors per 1,000 people. India is among the lowest. Even Pakistan has more doctors than for every 1,000 people than India has. Without doctors, there's no proper advice on healthcare. And without good healthcare, my life expectancy goes down. I'm sick most of the time, and because I'm sick, I cannot be productive. Or if I'm productive, I spend all the money in medicine, on medicines.